Welcome to Mental Health Radio Live Q&A. And with me so far today, hopefully everybody is doing fine. Anastasia Boschman is with me. Lise Thompson is with me. And Shelyn Somani is with me. And nice to see that we already have a couple of people viewing in. Ladies, I want to thank you for deciding to do this for me. For those of you who don't know Lise, we've already talked to Lise a couple of times about this with the podcast, Shelyn as well. Anastasia, though, she's new to the family and one of our group experts. And Anastasia, do you want to tell us a little bit about your Spotify, your podcast?
Oh, sure. That's just kind of a side thing I do. I have a podcast called The Grit Files. It highlights people who have gone through adversity and how they've come back, kind of like an inspirational thing for just to inspire listeners. And I also have another podcast called Owning the Rewrite, which is all about owning your story, no matter how tragic, and changing the trajectory of your life.
Excellent.
That's great.
And Lise, of course, is a Bachelor of Social Work, and she has worked, well, we've worked together in a addictions treatment center. Mm-hmm. Lise, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
We didn't quite hear you there. Is your mic working?
I said thanks.
Okay, sorry. It's that little voice that gets me every now and then. So, and Shelyn Somani is a medical doctor, and you're also a master of Reiki.
Ooh.
Okay, that's it.
Well, and I do acupuncture and other kinds of energy work, and I'm a facilitator for Byron Katie's work, and I've studied hypnotherapy. I'm kind of an overachiever, I guess. Anyway,
kind of an overachiever. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So we are here tonight to take some questions on mental health and mental wellness. So if it's all right with you, ladies, I'm going to get going on those questions right away. I'm sorry. Do you want me to turn the comments off on stage? Because it's kind of hiding you there, Shelyn.
Whatever you want to do is fine.
Well, we can't really see you.
I can't move it on my... Oh, okay.
We can't read them anyways, so you might as well shut them
there you
off.
go. Okay, so we're going to turn those off. Oh, there she is.
You can see the comments. Sorry, you can see the comments on the side if you click on comments.
I did see that. Yes. Like I said earlier, this is the first time doing more than one person, so they are here on the side. Can everybody see them on the right-hand side?
Yep.
All the questions. Okay, perfect. So I do have a couple of questions here already. I have one that was the first question, so we'll start with that one. What resources are out there for people who have experienced medical trauma and want help navigating the feelings that are associated with bad care, nearly losing your life, or severe medical intervention? They're really struggling, especially with interpersonal relationships. Who wants to start with that one?
So in BC, I always encourage people, like, first of all, I think when you've gone through a negative medical experience, where you feel like you've been mistreated. I don't know if that is the situation. Like, I'm hearing that, like, there's some medical trauma, but sometimes when people have had negative medical experiences where they think that things were done poorly, I always recommend that people report. Like in BC, I work for the Health Authority, for Ontario Health Authority, as a mental health and substance use clinician, and there's a patient quality care department, and so there's a process for basically keeping people accountable and making reports when they've have had poor quality care. In terms of like the trauma that people can experience going through medical stuff, I think counseling in BC, like there's free counseling if you go through like health authorities. Like I think that's really important if you have like unprocessed trauma of any kind, right? Like if you don't have the resources yourself, or you don't have supports who can listen to you and validate your feelings and help you understand the processes that you're going through. I always encourage people to ask for help and not try to navigate it themselves.
I think that's kind of what she's asking. I do know the young lady that is asking the question, and it is in BC. She went in for the Chiari surgery, and they botched it, and she ended up, being on an IV for a very long time at home and back in the hospital and infected and all these kind of things. And, and I think that's what she's basically getting at. I mean, I guess it's not really a medical malpractice, would it?
If she's concerned, if anybody is concerned about quality care, like if you said like they botched it, like if you think that things were done incorrectly, then I think that I'm not talking about malpractice necessarily. Like if you are pursuing malpractice, then you're going to like the regulatory board, right? So physicians are members of regulatory boards, and that's where malpractice would go, because that's where their license is being challenged, right?
Right.
Quality care is something not as severe, but still like gives us a voice.
I think that's what she's looking for. Sorry, Anastasia?
I just wanted to add that it's kind of important to think about the term trauma, because a lot of people misuse that term. And, I have young kids who come to me as a trauma-informed coach, and within the first 10 minutes, it's like, okay, that's not trauma. That's you not liking something, right? There's a big difference, because trauma is that wound that's inside of you. But I would suggest for that person is there is a whole network of trauma-informed coaches who can help you at a level to figure out whether you need a therapist and a counselor, or whether you need someone to just walk you through the next steps out of that. Because some people, even if they've suffered a trauma, they are ready to move out of that. They don't necessarily have to download that onto a therapist or a counselor. But I just wanted to mention Moving the Human Spirit in BC. They're a school that certifies trauma-informed coaches, and everybody that goes through that program needs to get 100 hours to certify with the International Coaches Federation. And so they have free hours at the end of their training where they're looking for people to practice what they do with. So Moving the Human Spirit is the Facebook group. It's a company in Victoria or in Vancouver. And I would suggest that's one place that you could start. And those hours are free, right?
Okay. No, that's awesome. And there's also in BC alone, is there like resources that are available as well, or would that just be through them and the one that Lise mentioned as well? Like just trying to get as many answers for her as possible.
So are you asking me?
I'm just asking out there in general. There's like there's two of you that know the BC. So I think that's what she's kind of asking for, because obviously it's helped navigate the feelings that are associated with the bad care, and when interpersonal relationships and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, like it does depend on the community that they're in, but so like in terms of resources, if they're wanting counseling, then sorry, I've drawn a blank.
No worries. We can, if you come up with anything in the near, we'll continue on with another question. But I do know what she's going through and what she has gone through with the surgery and all that. And since then, and being back and forth into the hospital all the time has affected her in more ways than, even she might know. All right. So I have another question here. And what do you recommend someone to do when they're going through a loss of their spouse? My sister just lost her husband in the first week of August of 13 or 15 years. I wasn't married to him, so I'm not sure how long it was, but grief.
I'll go.
Okay.
I did lose my first husband when my children were 3 under the age of 5. He was killed in a horrific workplace accident up in Manning, Alberta. And what I would suggest, knowing what I know now, this was 25 years ago, but do what feels right for you at the time and screw everybody else and their advice. Because mourning and grief is different for everybody.
Absolutely.
And it's 100% not linear. And you will go back and forth, and that it'll feel like you might be going crazy because everybody tells you those cliche things like time heals all wounds, which is just bullshit. Yeah, like it is what you make of it, and whatever you feel is absolutely okay. What you know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of go your own way and know that that's okay. That's actually what you need to do. You need to do whatever is best for you at that moment.
That's right. I mean, I've heard lots of people tell her, "Oh, just find yourself a hobby." It doesn't help that she is also living by herself now as well, away from her family type thing. But I just tell her to do the best she can, wake up every day and plant the feet on terra firma, and
maybe just acknowledge your emotions and feel every emotion you have. Don't worry about getting a hobby and putting your emotions on the back burner. Do not do that. Just feel every emotion. If it's rage, if it's anger, if it's fear, if it's whatever it is, just feel it and move through that emotion. Because the more that you stuff it down, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been doing a fair bit of grief counseling, and really that's what it is giving people the space to feel their emotions and to let them know that your grief is your journey, and it looks different for everybody, and there's no magic time frame. It's really personal. And I think we need to, when we're grieving, we need to be gentle with ourselves. Right. Mm-hmm. And just honor those feelings and honor the person that you've lost in whatever way that you can, explore different, some people find rituals of some kind to help people mourn or remember, and that can look many different things. Hospice societies usually have grief counselors that are trained. They're usually volunteers, but they go through pretty extensive training. There's often grief support groups. Here where I live in 100 Mile House, that is through the Hospice Society, and they do events, such as at Christmas time, they have a Christmas tree where you can buy an ornament that's kind of like a remembrance thing for your loved one, and you hang it on this memory tree that they do every year. And sometimes they do like a walk through there's a park here that has a waterfall, and they'll have like just different mindful exercises, or like maybe you light a candle on the walk, and it's all just, for people to receive support, and also just have that space, right? Yeah.
I think it's important too to find somebody who knows how to hold a non-judgmental space for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have that support, and you just don't move through it, and you just, like when I lost my husband, I was a workaholic and an A-type personality, a perfectionist, right? I'm recovering from all those things. And so it became really important for me to make everything perfectly normal for my little kids. It's going to be a normal life. And so I worked really hard at that. And what that did for me was it was me flapping at the surface to survive. And in those years of survival mode, there are chunks that I don't even remember. I was so far in survival mode. So if you can find somebody who can hold that space and really help you move through things, whoever, a priest, a reverend, one of your good friends, but it's got to be non-judgmental, and they just have to not give you advice, just hold the space for you to talk through your stuff. So important.
Mm-hmm.
Shelyn,
Yeah,
anything?
I agree with that, and I would add from personal and professional. Like I remember when my mom passed away a few years ago, I was having like physical chest pain and all kinds of symptoms, right? Broken heart syndrome, whatever you want to call it. And I found that getting body work was also really helpful for me. So anything to soothe the nervous system, you guys know this already, I think, but to help the emotions release, like craniosacral therapy, massage, acupuncture, energy work. I love combining different modalities. Um, and then working with a counselor, I think, is a good idea. A grief counselor, like you were saying, someone who can hold space. And for me, I would add to that like a loving space, which I suppose non-judgmental might equate to that. But I guess I just wanted to add that because I feel like that's always the medicine. So, and to feel it, to feel the feelings and not judge them.
Yeah, like connection for grief, and also with the previous question, with the complicated medical experiences, like connection, non-judgmental, loving, safe connection is like kind of key for healing from anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like we often want to withdraw when we're struggling, but it's the opposite that we need, right? We need connection. We need to move our bodies. Absolutely. Right. We got to give those emotions a way to flow through us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I only know because I'm. She's my sister, obviously, so it's a little close to me. But I just try to let her work it out, regardless of what the situation is, because really, truthfully, like somebody said earlier, everybody handles grief differently, and since it's not directly impacting me, I mean, it is through her, but not directly impacting me. It's hard for me to go in there and say, "Oh, this is and give her advice that, she'll just end up looking at me and rolling her eyes. I can almost hear her rolling her eyes from here.
Yeah.
I know this to be true. When you're in that grief and you lose somebody and it's tragic and it's quick and you didn't have a chance to say goodbye. I know that wasn't the case for your sister. she did have a chance, right? But when you're in that grief, in that mourning zone, it's really hard to ask for help. Because you don't want anybody else to feel what you're feeling.
Yeah.
You don't want to drag people down to where you're at, and it's just overwhelming. So I would suggest if you could do somatics, if you could do exercise just to get your mind wrapped around, you need help. You're going to have to ask for help at one point. Otherwise, like no man is an island, right? You can't do it on your own.
No, and otherwise you just end up in a big steep decline, right? And that's not good for you either.
Unless you learn
so,
how to meditate. If I
sorry?
could add one more thing, I think there's a lot of usefulness in meditation too, like to really sit and open to whatever. I mean, I don't want to get all, I don't know what the right word is. Some people use the word universe or God or source, depending on if you're religious or spiritual, whatever. But to open to that, I continue to find profound healing in that. And I have had a daily meditation practice for like 20 years now or so. And I can't imagine my life without it. And again, going through what I did when I lost my mom, that probably saved my life. So wanted to add that too.
I think about it as opening up to the possibilities that are out there that exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That to me is like it's the same language as you're talking, opening up to what the universe has in store for you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that, and like you said, the severe decline, that's a severe depression. You can't see the good. It could be right in front of you and you can't see it. Right.
Absolutely. And sometimes you just need a little nudge. I mean, I suggested, even just like she wanted to do originally, was to just go out to the seniors lodge and help out on recreation day, or go to bingo at the seniors lodge and stuff like that. She's not quite at that point. And of course, now the Alberta weather is coming for the winter time, and it makes it a little bit harder. However, something similar, small like that, I recommend it, just because then she's out. She's not breathing the same air that she breathes 24/7. She's getting that fresh air. She's getting that fresh perspective. She's getting a different point of view. It may just be something that helps in the long run.
And helping other people. There's studies out there. It changes your own perspective on how your life is moving. Right.
Yeah.
So that's so healthy to do.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just a big change of scenery. You know, when I get into one of my self-induced comas that I get into, then I have to go out and I have to do something out of the ordinary, out of my regular schedule, out of what I normally do. And it just seems like a whole different air, you know, even though it's the exact same air I've been breathing every time I go outside. It's just, oh, this is refreshing. Is this a different part of Edmonton that I didn't know about? So it kind of helps a bit. All right. Are you ready for the next one? This one, you ladies can all probably deal or understand this one. Is there anything you can suggest that would help with the communication between the generations, such as your children and yourself? It should be their way and no other way. So I know you ladies all have children. So this is right up your alley. You should have no problem with this one.
Gosh, parenting's hard. It's messy. It's trial and error. It's I think the biggest thing when it comes to communicating with the younger generation is be curious and ask questions. And because, when I'm thinking teenagers, because that's what I have. Well, one's not a teenager anymore. And when they think that, I think what I'm hearing in the question is when kids are at that stage where they think they know everything and whatever you say is wrong. That's kind of a normal thought process, like if we think about psychological development, where they're trying to find their own identity, and sometimes that looks like rebelling because they're testing things out, and like there's lots going on in the psyche with like ego development and all kinds of stuff. But I think that it's easy to get sucked into arguments because it might be important to them or to the parent to be right. And it's not, there were many times where I've had to just like say, I'm not going to argue with you. It doesn't really matter who's right and who's wrong. Does any of that make sense?
Well, I'm a non-parent, so I mean, the only thing I know is that as a younger child, and this is a teenager that we're talking about, and their mom, we were all teenagers once, and we all rebelled against our parents, right? So, or at least I did. I'm not sure. I know Lise was, pretty innocent little child.
My kids are so much better than I was. I mean, there's different challenges, but they're not getting into the shit that I got into. I'm pretty lucky.
Yep. It's a different society. I'm sorry, Anastasia, go ahead.
All of my children my youngest child is almost 30. So all of my kids, when they left home, they all pretty much went no contact, and not no contact in a bad way, but no contact as in, I am out on my own. I'm figuring this out. If I want to eat popcorn for 3 weeks straight, I'm going to do that. And it was very difficult to sit through the rave years, the bodybuilding years, the punk rock years, I'm going to travel in my van and live down by the river years. But I learned as I got better at it, the best thing to do is just to sit on the side and enjoy the ride that they're on without comments that are negative. And if those comments do come up in your mind, like when my son said, I'm going to sell everything and redo a van and live and just travel, the first thing that came to my mind was Chris Farley yelling, "You're going to live in a van down by the river." That whole skit came to my mind. And I thought, what's everybody else going to think? And you know what? That was the best thing for him. And it taught me to really check my narrative. Because honestly, that's my mother's narrative in my mind. It is not mine.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, that thing, it's interesting to talk about the generations, because honestly, most of the things that we have in our mind are from our parents, right?
Yep.
And we really have to learn how to check them. But now that my kids are older, they're becoming responsible individuals who are almost ready to get married and have children themselves. And I think I love spending time with you. Like if I could move in with you as a roommate, that would be the best thing ever, because there's no fighting anymore. There's just communication. Do you know what I'm saying? It's so when your kids get to the point where they're all through that, I'm going to try new things and different things and smoke pot and do this. And then it gets to the point where they just become the best versions of whoever you made. And that's the best thing since sliced bread. But yeah, when they were teenagers, that was hell.
Yeah, I know what I put my mom and dad through, for sure. Shelyn, your children are young, yes? Or younger?
I see a picture. They're 16, 13, and 5. That was
16 and 13, so you're just heading into
Paris.
that world.
It hasn't happened yet, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I've not had any of the teenager things I've heard about from a lot of parents so far. So I may just be lucky.
when,
I
when
think
it
I would be
happened?
worried if they didn't go through stuff like that.
I would think
For
so. I
me,
mean,
Mm,
because I mean, you gotta have a little pushback. I would think, just for their own independence, right?
I agree with that.
They got to be able to set their
mhm.
pace and their. This is the direction I'm going. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily in the same
Yeah.
direction mom and dad want me to
Yeah.
go, but this is what
hmm
I want to go. And
hmm
I think there has to be a little bit of pushback on my own
hmm
personal. Once again,
hmm
I don't have kids, so what do I know? But I think that because of some of the things that I did as a teenager, it helped me where I am now. Mistakes, of course. Regrets, maybe, but it made me who I am. So I guess I don't know. Do you have to change as a parent when they go through that? Do you have to look at it through different eyes? Do you have to say, I'm not mom at this moment? I'm,
Yep.
you know, trying to be their non-judgmental, advice giver, soothsayer, or whatever.
Well,
Go ahead.
there's different camps is the word that come to mind. Like I've talked to some people who think like my job isn't to be their friend. But I think that again, like being if I can be just, and I am non-judgmental and accepting, they're more likely to confide in me. And like that's, as a parent, that's what I want, right? Like I want them to feel safe talking to me. But I don't think we stop the parent side, for me anyway. And like I think that yeah, I think there's lots of different approaches. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm speaking from an outside. I've never been a parent. I've only been a step parent. That's the best I could do. All right. Okay, so we have another one here. If you ladies are ready, I'm just going to read out what it says here. Of course, it's word for word. I'm not going to change any wordings. As an adult, I'm finding it extremely difficult to find somewhere to get mental health diagnosis for my OCD. My family doctor sent me to a psychologist who said he wouldn't do an assessment because he doesn't like labels and that I should just do the treatment regardless. I am finally convinced my family doctor to refer me to a psychologist or psychiatrist, but this could be up to a year wait. Why is getting mental health assessment diagnosis so challenging and lengthy? It's important for me to have clarity and better understanding of my behaviors, etc.
You know, I think in terms of like why is the process, why is the wait so lengthy? That's like a supply and demand issue, right? Like a lot of people are looking for like psychiatric diagnoses, clarifications, and like there are just simply not enough psychiatrists. And you can have so like I've worked with a lot of people who maybe they're waiting for a formal diagnosis, they want one, but like from the helping professional side, it's not it's not necessary unless you need it for something. Like you can understand your behaviors by like learning about the symptoms, right? Like if it's really, because like mental wellness is kind of about symptom management, right? Like so if I'm know that I have obsessive compulsive behaviors and thoughts, then there's ways, like there's cognitive behavioral therapy that can be helpful with OCD. Like there's different techniques that you can learn. And sometimes I'll go through the DSM, which is the diagnostic tool for mental illness, and I might go through the checklists of symptoms with the person, and that can kind of, if it's important for a person to have that label to understand their experience, because it to validate it, or right, I think sometimes it's about validating your experience. And so sometimes to say, yeah, this fits under this category. Okay, now I know what I'm dealing with. What's the treatment? Yeah.
Anastasia?
I think, just talking from personal experience, I think that you have to advocate for yourself in this system that we have. And I definitely agree that it's a supply and demand issue, especially in Alberta. There is just not enough. And pretty much you have to be either in a position of you're going to hurt yourself or hurt someone else before they even bring you in and help you. And even once you've left that building, it's just kind of a cut and dry. There you go, off you go. And if you don't have the will to advocate for yourself and ask and keep coming back and being the squeakiest wheel, then you just don't get help. You just drop off again. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important to just say, okay, I'm advocating for myself and I would like this. I hear you. I've had this experience with this psychologist who doesn't like labels. Now let's find another one. Mm-hmm. Because it is something that's bothering me and I need to fix it. But there is also in today's social media a real incline of people saying, if you have this and this and this, you have autism. If you have this and this and this, you're OCD. And so people are kind of driving toward, what's my diagnosis? Mm-hmm. I'm finding it in my work a lot. And it's just kind of like, well, let's go through what you're talking about. What are you feeling? Right? Mm-hmm. Where did you first get that idea? Well, I saw it on a TikTok. Okay. Well, talk is not a medical doctor, right? So you have to kind of take that stuff with a grain of salt. But I do see, even when I'm on TikTok or social media, there's a drive for people to self-diagnose themselves based on what they're seeing there.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of dangerous. Because not everybody who combs their hair 5 times on each side has OCD.
Yeah.
It's just a habit.
Yeah. And and if the habits are interfering with your ability to function,
right, then
that starts to go over the pathology, right? We don't have to, yeah, it can be dangerous when we pathologize everything about ourselves, right? Yeah. And I totally agree with the advocacy piece. I'm coaching people all the time to advocate for your needs, advocate for your health. And
there's nothing wrong with saying, if you're in a doctor's office, I disagree. This is why. Speaking from a personal, when I went to get hormone replacement therapy and there was no female doctor to be had in all the High Prairie area, and I had to go to a male doctor who argued with me that I was going to die if I got that, and just having to, and many, many arguments. There's nothing wrong with, you're a stakeholder. You have a say in your own health, right? But I think because our system is so run down and overworked that we think, okay, I'm not going to say anything, just go to the next patient, because, and do you know what I mean? And sometimes you get doctors who are quite arrogant about, well, I'm not here, next, I've got 100 people in the waiting room. I don't have time for this, lady.
Yeah, it also comes down to the government yanking funding on different programs and taking away money from mental health and not putting in something else. There's a lot of variables that I can see through that. Shelyn, you're a doctor.
I have a lot
Anything?
to say on.
Hey?
I have a lot to say. I'm trying to think of like how to keep it in a nutshell. And sorry if I have to take the puppies out in a minute.
That's okay. You have to introduce us to the new guests on
Yeah.
the show.
We just got Simba and Otter. Like
Oh
a
my
few.
Very nice.
goodness.
They're
Oh.
really sweet. I don't know if you can
So
see
now
them.
you
but-
have 4 kids.
Unless you count my never mind. I say my ex, but I take it back. Okay, well, yeah, so I trained in Western medicine, right? And I can honestly say, so I graduated about 20 something years ago, and I can honestly say I've learned more about mental and emotional health since being done med school and residency than I did during med school and residency, like by far. We just weren't taught how to actually help heal it. It was, how to medicate. I think that maybe a small proportion of the population needs medication compared to how it is right now. It's just, I think that, one of my favorite quotes is that the most brilliant pharmacy on the planet is the human body, right? Is within the human nervous system. It's just we haven't been taught how to tap into it, right? The body is made to heal itself. But when it's in fight flight all the time, it's fighting for its life instead of taking time to actually, that's why, before I mentioned meditation, anything really that drops you in to the truth of who you are, I think is the most healing thing to do. But in our society, it's not like that, right? It's like, get up and go, and I don't have enough time, and I don't have enough money, and this bill and that problem. And it often takes a tragedy or, a diagnosis or something, what we would call terrible, I guess, to usually snap people out of it and be like, whoa, what do I actually value? What am I here for? So there's probably a lot more I could say on that, but I don't talk. But, you can naturally increase your serotonin levels by shifting what you're thinking about. That's all.
100%.
So quickly. You can shift your blood pressure. You can change your heart rate. And we're all capable of this. And so, but doctors, I think most of them do mean well. But again, it's just they're programmed to think that you throw drugs at things and and then of course they have side effects, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes severe. There's a wonderful man I started working with as a patient about a month ago, and he was put on a medication and for the first time in his life had suicidal thoughts, like deep, like almost did it. Got off the medication, they went away, those thoughts. And again, I get that that's a minority, but this is not, I know it's a big thing. Like you take a little pill and they say it's only 10 milligrams, but it's changing your brain chemistry. It's a big deal. So for me, it's definitely my preference that people learn how to heal themselves, and anything that's natural obviously doesn't ever have negative side effects, right? Because you're bringing the body back to how it should be.
Yeah, I know we talked before on our podcast that you're not necessarily into the big prescriptions and all that kind of stuff. Reminds me of when I was on a prescription, and I would say it's actually making my heart beat faster. Oh, we'll put you on the ECG and all that, and none of this shows up. Oh, you're just making up. It's phantom or whatever. It's like, no, it is actually. I can feel it in the middle of my chest, and my heart's going boom, 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 whether you like to admit it or not.
Yeah.
And it took me about 2 years before they finally took me off it. So yes, I understand what you're saying about the prescriptions. Okay, ladies, it's almost time for us to go. So I know. Well, we should do this again. I'm open to doing this again if you ladies are. I know you're all busy in your schedules and all that kind of stuff, but it definitely was very informative for myself, and I hope we answered some of the questions that we are. But what anything you want to add to any of the questions that we have before we do leave?
I have one thing I wanted to say. Go ahead, Lise, if you're going to.
No, go.
With the parenting thing, what came to me is like, as I continue to notice how I parent, it seems like I treat my children the way I treat myself. And to me, that's the most important. It's like, am I connected to me? If I'm connected to me, I'm connected to them. Am I patient, loving, kind with me? Then I'll automatically, naturally be patient, loving, and kind with them. It doesn't take effort. So that's one thing I continue to learn and navigate.
Kind of the old treat them the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When I work with parents, it's, if you're dysregulated,
Yeah.
then like your kids are going to be dysregulated. So like, I love that. You bring it back to yourself. And am I grounded? Am I
Am I being hard on
regulated?
myself?
Like,
And am I being hard on
we need
myself?
to, take a step back, take
Yeah.
a breath. Like,
Yeah. Byron Katie's work helped me the most with parenting. I don't know if you guys have heard of Byron Katie, but she's one of my favorite authors and teachers, and I've been to a bunch of workshops with her, and she's just one of the most brilliant minds on this planet that I've ever met. She changed my life, but it's a way of questioning your stressful thoughts. And as a parent, I find that would be like my number one recommendation for people that are having stress or struggling.
could
with
you say that
parenting.
name again?
Yeah, Byron Katie. It's Byron.
Yeah.
And then Katie, Katie. And
And-
she's got a website called thework.com, and everything's on there, and it's all free. These guys.
And
We-
Anastasia, you talked about an organization in BC that
I have to take these guys out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that
It was so
coaches-
nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
for
so
coming.
much. It was nice to
Okay.
meet you.
Yeah,
Nice to
it
see
was.
you. You too. Bye.
It's called Moving the Human Spirit.
Okay.
They have a website,
Okay.
and they teach. Basically, they're coaches, and they teach an accredited diploma in trauma informed coaching.
Nice.
Yes, we used Byron Katie, as Shelyn just said. We used her works and also some stuff that Lise had recommended for that mental health companion that we have on our website. So
Right.
there's that, and I don't know if anybody has checked that out. It's not meant to be a mental health therapist. It's just to kind of help maybe ground you or give you some directions that if you are seeking, if you have mental health questions, that you can ask Violet. And it's named after my grandmother. So I made very sure that it's not there to diagnose. It's there to chit chat, give recommendations of different sites you can go to, different websites you can go to, different books you may read, et cetera, et cetera. So that is also something that we did on the website. Anything else? Anastasia, you look like you have something about to be said.
No, I'm
No?
good.
Okay.
I think I've talked enough.
All right. Well, I thank you once again for doing this. And like I said, I'd like to do this again sometime. And I thank you all for your help. Unfortunately, Shelyn left, but thank you very much. This will be up probably on the website and on the Facebook group. We're hoping to get it shared throughout the entire world if possible, because I believe that there's some good brains in this room, and mine isn't one of them. But I definitely believe that we could do this on a regular basis if it interests you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on when it is and what my schedule for that week is looking like.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all on your schedules. It's I'm usually good Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, in all honesty, mostly Mondays and Tuesdays, but today's a rarity. The work took a shift away from me, and so I had tonight off. So it made more sense to do it on the night that I'm available. But yes, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and
Lise?
any Thursdays aren't the best night for me usually either, but I chose you.
Isn't that awesome? Well, that's what you get when you know somebody for 300 and some years, right? You say hi to that big old husband of yours and your
I
kid.
will.
Appreciate that very much. And
Yeah.
Anastasia, and you say hi to your family and all that for me as well.
Sure.
And thank you for tuning in, and all
You bet.
the people that did tune in today. We hope we answered your questions. If you do have any follow-up, please reach out to myself or on the Facebook group, or even on the website, and talk about the podcast and what you did like about it and what maybe we could improve on. Thank you all for coming. Have yourselves a good night.
Good night.